Hello everyone. In the earlier sessions we saw how biological and environmental factors play a role in development of our personality. In this session we will see media as one of the environmental factors responsible for our personality growth. Environmental factors bring modifications to our personality. We have already seen about the other socializing factors like parents at home, teachers in school, peers in school, and colleagues in the workplace. Now we are going to see how media is responsible for socializing ourselves. Media is the word is the plural for medium, and it is the most pervasive and one of the most powerful means of communication that influence people widely. All of you must be aware of it already. And it represents how we see ourselves, and it sets standards for what is normal and desirable for men and women. It can be empowering. At the same time, it can also send confusing and limiting, even harmful messages about gender. Like we have already seen that how pink is the color for feminine beauty and blue is the color for masculine behavior, and only media set the standard for what women should like and what men should like and do. And if we keep blind trust on media standards as to what to buy and how to look, etc., then that might prove disastrous on us. Considering the representation of gender by media, we find that media impact the perspective, attitude and expectations of public to a large extent, and if they happen to be young children, it conditions the impressional minds of these people, and it positions the audience into a male perspective as the cultural standard. So here comes the lopsided perspective of the media. It sees everything only through a male perspective, and it underrepresents women and transgender people, implying that they are unimportant or invisible. So you can see the kind of a representation in media for men, women and transgender and other people. And media portray men and women in stereotypical ways just to sell their products. They are mainly commercial, for commercialization only they are, and they also objectify women, and they depict relationships between men and women in such a way that it normalizes violence against women. And this you must be already familiar with the different types of media. We have the print media, which transmit information through physical objects like books, magazines, newspapers, etc. We have the broadcast media that transmit information electronically via media like films, radio, television and all. And we have the digital media that use electronic devices for distribution, like internet, social media and other things come under this. Television serials, you must be aware of how influential it is. In the earlier days we had television serials like Malgudi Days, adapted from very well known literary works, and they were very popular. But nowadays television stereotype men and women. They project male characters as more tough, aggressive, domineering and competent than our average men, and female characters are projected too thin, beautiful, dependent and dumb on than majority of the females. And in television serials and all, men are assigned positive roles whereas women are assigned negative roles. And even in women characters, they have good and bad extremes of women characters created to dramatize the difference. So we have the heroine also as a woman, and the villain of the piece also is a woman. And if you consider the broadcast media, um, especially the films, they positively portray sexual violence. So this positively presenting something negative, it's likely to make men and women perceive this as something very natural, and it transforms this unacceptable behavior of sexual violence as something acceptable and even enticing, and women are less likely to object or defend themselves from it because of this kind of a positive portrayal. Nowadays we have some films like Thappad that try to counteract this trend. And coming to the advertisements, you know how influential they are. They regard even healthy functional bodies as abnormal and unacceptable just to sell their products. So all these products have to be marketed, and for doing that, advertisements they even project healthy bodies as something they fall short of, and then it should be made up with makeup items. And these advertisements provide artificial standards to entice a man and warn a woman that he might leave her if those beauty products are not used. So indirectly it's a kind of a emotional blackmail on the woman that if she is not using these beauty products, then she might lose her Prince Charming. And these advertisements assign glamour roles to women to advertise men's products. So even when a razor is advertised, a woman is also introduced in the advertisement as a with a glamour role. And considering the advertisements for toys, these advertisers purposely make toys gender specific to capture the market. And this limits the prospects of children. So if children want to choose something from if a boy wants to choose something from the girls section, it is difficult for him, and if a girl wants to choose something from the boys section, that also becomes difficult. Indirectly, they pressure them to follow a stereotyped life, and they get boys and girls criticized for choosing their own interests. So if they go to the other section and choose something from there, then they get criticized because of the standards set by the media. And gender neutral toys remove the pressure of stereotypes from children. So if these gender neutral toys are introduced, then there is no pressure on the children to choose according to the stereotypes. They can choose whichever they want to choose. Considering the digital media, you know, social media is very, very popular, and these social media also set new standards of unrealistic beauty. Young people purchase products endorsed by social media personalities without understanding these social media personalities are edited and modified images, and this leads to 115% increase in the number of plastic surgeries since 2000, it seems. Taking into consideration the print media, we have health and fitness magazines, and these magazines focus more on appearance than on health, and they focus on reducing caloric intake rather than exercise, and instead of motivating people to better themselves, they make readers feel bad about their body and feel dissatisfied. Taking into consideration the children's books in print media, we find that they frequently portray girls and boys in stereotypical ways. For example, if you take the fairy tales, especially the male characters are depicted as strong, adventurous, independent. They'll be active fighters, adventurers and rescuers like this. And the female characters will be portrayed very sweet, naive, dependent, and they'll be mostly caretakers or mothers or princesses in need of rescuing. And this reinforces the idea that men are in authority and women are incompetent by casting of males coming to the rescue of helpless females. And you know the story of Sleeping Beauty, like As an example, it's a Sleeping Beauty depends on for her redemption on Prince Charming's kiss. And women are generally portrayed as either good or bad. Once again, like in television serials, in children's books also we have the clear-cut demarcation of good and bad women characters. For example, witches and mean stepmothers serve as villains, and beautiful and passive females serve as the heroines. To conclude, media project male perspectives as the cultural standard. So this we have to understand. It is a lopsided perspective, and we need not be giving so much of weightage which we give to media, and it give out harmful stereotypical messages of gender, and for the sake of commercialization they set unrealistic standards of beauty so that their products can be sold, and they underrepresent women and transgender people, and they misrepresent women and endanger their self-worth. You might have seen the item songs we have in almost all the films just to commercialize and make the film a success story. And these kind of things normalize violence against women. So in this session we saw the role of media in the construction of gender. In the following session we will talk about how it impacts people and what can be done to modify our personality from its influence. Thank you.